What you doing? You want me to throw your ball? You want me to throw your ball? You ready? You ready? Get it. Crazy girl. All right. Today is the 21st of March. I'm going to do another video in April 1st of the garden. I'm working on emptying this greenhouse. My husband got it for me 2 Christmases ago. He's really heartbroken that it's not holding up. The joints are breaking on it. It's lopsided massively. The poles are rusting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear it apart. Keep it in a section, but tear the sections apart and just have it as one tier, and then I'm going to line it up inside the garden so I have a place to stick flats to get them acclimated to the sun, and I have better control of water if I keep them in flats starting seeds. It gets too hot here. It's middle of March and we've already have hit 90 degrees so far this year. We've been in the 70s and the 80s. We just had a cold front that blew through where we were in the 50s for a week. And now we're heading back in the 70s and 80s. It's really hard to keep the soil moist to get seeds to germinate, because by midday everything is dry because of how hot it gets here. And so I have better luck starting everything in seed trays. So I'm going to implement this to do that. And then the top half, I'm thinking I'm going to use that for something too. So we'll see. I've got some ideas. Of course, it's starting to mist. We've been misty all day, on and off. But I wanted to do a quick garden tour. Yeah, it's looking trashy. I need to find time to come out here and just get all of my sawdust laid down. And you see I got a lot of it sawdust, or wood shavings. You can also see all of the pollen from the oak tree that's down here. So my first bed is my asparagus bed and my rhubarb bed. The asparagus looks amazing. I won't be able to pick until next year. Will be the first year I'll be able to pick. But you can see the baby asparagus and the stalks that are now coming up to turn into these beautiful ferns. I have some simple bamboo poles and some baling twine at the bottom just to help corral it and to support it so it stays up. Otherwise it just flops everywhere. And then down here I've got spearmint that's growing with it. I've already did my first harvest of spearmint and made some spearmint tea. It was fantastic. Of course, I always say in all my videos, dandelions to me is a crop. So I do allow dandelions to be in my garden. I do have yellow and white dandelions. I have seeds for the pink dandelions, which I plan on starting here in the next week or so. I'm going to do a massive seed start for my mid-season, between spring and summer plants. I've got some elephant dill that's coming up here. It's looking good. I have this here is it's self-seeded from the celosia that I had planted in the corner of the bed last year, along with some zinnias that are coming up. I will leave those. Free plants are my jam. If something will come up on its own, 99.9% of the time I will leave it unless I absolutely positively have to have it out of my way. This is my lemongrass from last year, and it is coming back up. I am so excited. I thought I lost it, but it's coming back up. So fantastic. I've got lemongrass coming up. My rhubarb that I planted this year is flowering, which I've never seen rhubarb flower before. They say you're supposed to remove the flower stalks because it hinders your production. But I can't harvest for the first 2 years anyway, and since I just planted it this year, I just left the flowers. I'm like, the bees like it, it can stay. And then my soul walking onion, that's in here. My soul walking onion, that I don't know how it survived, but it survived the winter. Of course, the dandelions, which I need to come through. Once they have produced their fluff, I come and I break off the spent stems to clean it up. I need to do that. I'll collect the seeds on this and plant the seeds in other places. This is all from the oak tree. It's all of the little pollen. Ugh. But the rhubarb's looking good. I have baby leaves down there. A third rhubarb right there. Some more celosia. I have weeds everywhere too. I've been working on weeding. This is a weed. So I need to go through and work on weeding. I try to pick some weeds. I haven't had a lot of time out in the garden. We just got done with spring break and dog grooming was through the roof, which I am not complaining because I needed the cash. This is my sweet corn back here. It's doing pretty good. I'm going to come out and put a couple of seeds in some of the spots, or I'm going to plant something like maybe some sunflowers in these spots that are kind of bare. And then in the middle was a carrot, once again self-seeded. I left it. I get a lot of swallowtail butterflies, and the caterpillars go bananas for it. I don't think that's one though. I think that's a tent worm, but and the flowers are really pretty on these carrots. Every year I get 1 or 2 carrots. I planted carrots a couple years back, 2 years back, and I have a couple carrots that always come up. So I leave them. I love the flowers. I think they're beautiful. They kind of have this rusty pink color, but mainly because it feeds the butterflies. The swallowtail will, the caterpillars will eat that. I've seen them on my carrots. I see them on my dill, my fennel, and I grow a lot of extra of that just for the butterflies. So the corn is looking great. My raspberries are looking good over here. I'm going to run wire across this. I've got a whole bunch of baby raspberries plants that had come up over here, which I had dug up. And look, there's another one right there. And I'll come through and I'll actually dig that up and put it in a pot and get it rooted real good. And then I will do raspberries all the way down. They do send out runners. I'm fine with that. I have no problem digging runners up and repotting them and replanting them to get a good raspberry harvest. So it's fine. It can do that. No complaints from this girl. My onions are looking good. I do have some onion grass. Onion grass that's not supposed to be in there. But my red onions look really good. My beets are looking good. I'm starting to get some bulbing. So I might actually get some beets this year. If not, I have the beet greens that I can use in salads. This bed has become a flippin' nightmare. I have green beans planted, and I weeded this completely out before I planted, but the grass keeps coming and I need to come back through and reweed again. I need to bring over, now that the seeds have come up, I need to bring over some hay from the goat pen, the wasted goat pen, or the wasted hay from the goat pen, so I can put it down to help suppress some of this weeds after I go through and weed. My Swiss chard is coming up in here. Whoop. As I drop the phone. Swiss chard is coming up right here. These are zinnias. This is all grass and weeds, but I have a whole row of Swiss chard that's coming up and zinnias that are coming up, which I'm excited about. The green beans are coming up, but they're not doing so good. I think I planted them too early and the weather's been catawonky. So I'm going to go through this in the next day or two, get it completely weeded out. I'm going to plant more green bean seeds. And these are my jade green beans. They usually grow really well. I usually don't have any issues with them. But for some reason, they're not cooperating. And then these are marigolds that I planted along the front to help with pests. For some reason down here at this end, none of them came up. Same with the zinnias. The zinnias didn't come up over at this end either. And I planted a whole row from one side to the other. So I'll bring more zinnia seeds out. But the Swiss chard is looking good. I just need to get this grass out of there so it's not choking it out. So that's what's going on in this bed. I don't have anything planted in this bed yet. I plan on planting cucumbers over here. And I'm going to use this back bed. It doesn't get a whole lot of sun. So I've got 2 blueberry bushes. I was thinking where I could plant them. And I think I'm going to plant them back here in this bed. And then I will plant flowers or something around it. But this way it'll get shade for most of the day. And I won't have to worry about the blueberries burning. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm going to play with more thought on whether I'm going to do that or not. I've got cabbage here. This was a white bok choy. I love the flowers. I think next year I am going to plant a ton of bok choy and plant it over my flower garden. I love these yellow flowers. I mean, I know it's not productive. I can still pick bok choy and eat it, but we don't eat a whole lot of it. But I'm just totally digging these yellow flowers. I mean, they're bright and cheerful, and when it's not wet out, it's usually covered in honeybees. So I'm gonna grow it. You know, I'll be able to eat. I'll eat some of it during the cool season, but then when it goes to flower, I'm not gonna cry because that is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. This is cabbage. I've got 3 cabbage plants here, and they're doing pretty good. My arugula has flopped. These big old, let me stand up there. Nope, flop. So my arugula has gone to seed. Their leaves have gotten really hot and spicy. We had these weird weather spikes, and every time we had these hot temperatures, it caused things to bolt. I've already pulled 3 lettuces out of here and fed them to the chickens because they bolted before they had enough leaves on them to even pick. Just like this is bolting. So I did get some heads, not very many, but I do, along with the weeds, I do have, I'm going to come out and pick some leaf lettuce. I've got leaf lettuce here and there. Got some leaf lettuce over there. I've got some rogue onions that have come up. I'm letting them go to seed because the flower heads are beautiful. I can use the leaves as kind of like a chop or a green onion. And then some rogue onions here that came up. And then over there. They were planted last year. I harvested my onions. These were bulbs that I thought were dead that were in the garden. I left them. Nope. They came back up with a vengeance. So they are going to stay. They're beautiful. This bed is going to be converted into a tomato basil bed. I'm going to do a row in the center of tomatoes. I was thinking about doing 2 rows, but with how much tomatoes bush out, I think I'm just going to do it in the center. And then I'm going to plant things on the outside edge. I know I can do basil. There were a couple of other vegetables that do well with tomatoes that I'm going to plant on the outside edge. So I think green beans were one. So I'm going to do green beans in this bed along with the basil and tomatoes. And then this bed is 100% a lettuce green type bed. All of the different varieties of, I've got spinach and mustard greens. I've got Manzula. I've got some lacy lettuce. leaf lettuces. So it's a wide variety of different greens to make salads. I took the microgreen packets that you're supposed to only allow them to grow oh so big, and then you cut them and eat them and blah blah blah. I took the packages and I spread them out here, and this is what I got, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's like a massive salad bowl. There are some weeds in here, but for the most part the leaves have spread out enough where it's suppressing the weeds. So I'm excited. I do have a rose bush in this corner. This bed is going to house my hot peppers and probably 1 or 2 tomato plants in the center, and then I'll do peppers around the outside edge. This bed here is mostly weeds right now. And that's fine because I don't have anything important planted in the center, so I'll go through weed this. This is also going to be a tomato bed, and it's going to be a tomato pepper bed. I'm going to do 1 row on the outside edge over here of tomatoes, and then 1 row on the outside edge of peppers over here. Right now I've got these just gorgeous cabbages. I mean, they're beautiful. Aren't those beautiful? I mean, they're just beautiful. And then I've got some Italian dandelion greens here. My Manzula is going to seed because once again we had some massive temperatures that just a second. Rage, you know you're not supposed to be in here. I know you want to be in here, but you can't be in here. You pee on my vegetables. I know, I'm so sorry. I know. No. Oh, you're being such a crybaby. Sorry, guys. I saw him and I wanted to stop him before he got in here. He'll trample through everything. He has no peace. Goodness gracious, I am struggling. There we go. Huh. Yep, I bungee cord myself in the garden. Anyway, as I was saying, more dandelion. This is Manzula. I've got 4 variety of Manzula. Manzula is a Japanese mustard green. This is still edible even though it's that flower. If you saute it and you're adding seasonings, you know, the flavor kind of lessens. It's not as good, but even it's not bitter, which I'm surprised it hasn't gotten bitter. It's more of that mustardy, peppery. So it'll be good to saute still. I'll keep testing it, but as soon as it starts tasting yucky, I'll stop. But for right now, it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And we're really starting to get rain now. But these yellow flowers, once again, I mean, this right here is just 3 plants of Manzula. It's a wider leaf Manzula. But the honeybees earlier this morning, this thing was covered in honeybees. Is that just not beautiful? I mean, doesn't that scream spring? I want this in my flower garden. So I will be planting it here in my vegetable garden, but I'll also be planting it over in the side flower garden. So that way, in the spring, I get this because this is amazing. And when I go to pull it out, I can give it to the chickens and the ducks and the birds, and they will absolutely love it. But that is just beautiful. And look at the seed pods. All of these are seed pods. So you know this girl will be out here. I mean, look, as soon as these start to dry out, that's a seed pod. I don't know if that's focusing. It's raining and my phone's covered in water. But when you split these open, let's see if it'll let me do it. Yeah, they're not ripe or ready to be picked, but you see all the little seeds in there? And that's just off of one stalk. And the flowers just keep going. I just love it. So I will be harvesting the seeds on this, and I'll be doing mass plantings of this in my flower garden for spring flowers. The honeybees, just like I said, have gone bananas for it. Harvested most of my Brussels sprouts. I have 1 Brussels sprout plant left. Oh, Look at the Brussels sprouts on this thing. This plant is just massive. I will probably be picking Brussels sprouts tonight for dinner. We love Brussels sprouts. So that's my last major Brussels sprout plant that I've got left. I had 4. I've harvested the other ones. And then this bed here, it's kind of a mashup of things. I've got herbs over here. I've got some random mustard greens, bee balm in the back, Italian dandelion here that came back up from a planting 2 years ago. I've got white dandelions. Aren't those beautiful? Growing here, and the plants are prolific. You can pick the greens and eat the greens, the flowers, and the root. It's a 100% edible plant. I do have weeds in here that I need to come in here and weed, but right there's a chamomile. I don't know what this is. I want to say it's a horehound, but I don't quote me on it. I need to go back and look and see what I planted there, or if it's just a random weed that pops up, because that does happen in my gardens a lot, because I don't use chemicals. Is that not beautiful? This is a cherry cola blush phlox. I planted 1 plant last year. It looked beautiful. We had drought. It died. I thought I lost the plant. I have it growing everywhere over here. Everywhere. Which I'm not complaining about. I mean, give me beautiful plants any day of the week. Let's step over here. Is that not beautiful? There's one right there. There's one right there. I mean, look at that. And every flower is unique. It'll either have the bursts or it won't. But it's just beautiful. But I have it popping up everywhere. All through here. So I am just so excited about that. And it will stay. What else do we have in here? Of course, weeds. We've got some echinacea coming up right there. That's bee balm back here. I love me some bee balm. This is absinthe. That's what they use to make the liquor absinthe. More echinacea. I had just a rogue viola that came up in here from planting violas 2 years ago. I've got rogue chamomile all through my garden too. It started as 1 plant over here, and now it just pops up in spurts everywhere, which is fine. I do need to come in here and weed this out. My pot here I've got sweet peas, the flowering sweet pea, Old World, and then I have it's like a white, it's almost like a sweet alyssum, but it's not, but it's something snow, but it's a white flower that's kind of like alyssum, and it gets big and bushy and it flows over pots. That's around the edge. I don't know if it's all going to come up. I see some babies coming up, but we'll see. And then of course the white dandelion I pointed out, the Italian step over, I don't want to step on anything. The Italian dandelion, which is greens. These throw up flowers kind of like a cornflower or like a bachelor button on the 2nd year. So next spring, these will be like this all year, and then in the spring I'll get the flower stalks were as tall as these T-posts, with these beautiful blue flowers, and it bloomed all summer long. And then the plant died back. I cut it back, but I left the roots, and then in the spring it all came back. So, and once again, free plant, I'll take it. And you eat them as salad greens. And then I just planted this morning my 2 artichokes. These are the Colorado Red Artichoke. I've got 2. I had potted up, I think 5 pots, and only 1 pot with 2 seeds came up. So those got planted today. What else do we have over here? This is sage. That's right there. That's more of that phlox. This here is horehound. No, yes, no, yes, yes. Where's my tag? Yeah, I believe this is horehound right there. That's not horehound, that's horehound. And then that right there, this plant right here is sweet, it's hyssop. It's hyssop anise. It's got a licoricey taste to it. And then this is salad birds, which, I mean, look how massive that plant is. I planted that 2 years ago also. And that's something that you can put in salads. It's just a salad green. And this was a mustard green, a Japanese Tokyo mustard. And once again, those beautiful yellow flowers. Can't get enough of those. Let's see, what else have I not shown you guys? Look, corn. Just a random corn in the walkway. That's funny. I probably dropped a seed when or a squirrel got it. So in the walkway, I have sweet peas growing up on the trellis, and they are doing wonderful. I'm constantly out here messing with them, trying to keep them up on the trellis because they start flopping. And I've got more sweet peas there and sweet peas here. I was out here planting before I decided to do a video, so you see my pots are down there. But they're doing really good, so hopefully I will get peas before it gets too hot. And then I've got some Scarlet runner beans right here, and these actually are wing beans. Once again, something I planted last year. I didn't get any we hit drought and I did not get any beans off of them, and they came back up. I only had 3 plants last year, and I've got 3 plants off of this stem, and it looks like I've got 4 or 5 off of this stem. So they actually come back here, and I'm surprised. We did have one day where we dropped to 14 degrees, so I'm really surprised some of this stuff survived, because it's technically supposed to be just an annual vegetable, but no, that's coming up. And then in front of my peas I have radishes, and my radishes are looking good. So we've looked at all of these beds. Let's go over here. I really want to get this space looking beautiful, but it's definitely not going to be an overnight thing. So this is the flower bed. It's my memorial bed. I've got a couple of herbs in here. I've got a big elderberry that's growing, roses, and some flowers. This bed, we had that horrible freeze a couple years ago, and one of my dogs that was in kidney failure died during that freeze because we weren't able to get him to the vet, and we weren't able to get him to a crematorium so he could be cremated. So in the middle of 10-degree weather here in southeast Texas, my husband came out here and dug a hole in the snow, which we never get snow here, in the snow and the ice and the bitter cold and in the rain, and dug a hole and buried our sweet boy Bud. His memorial stone crumbled. I need to get a new one. He is buried underneath of this rose bush. I planted this garden over the top of him in memory of him. I originally had 3 rose bushes at the end. One died the very first year. I don't think it was getting enough sunlight. The ground is weird here, so I don't know exactly what happened, but it didn't do well at all from the very get-go. And then the next year, this one was not doing very good, and it died. But this one powers through. But I mean, have you seen anything more beautiful? And the smell is just breathtaking. You can see all of it. It does have mosaic disease. You see how it's got the white speckling on it? It doesn't seem to affect it, but it is a virus that can affect roses. And for some reason, it's surviving with it. It's producing flowers. I am not going to take out this rose bush because it is fighting and striving. The new growth looks good. I'm not seeing any issues. It's an older rose. It's sending up new canes. I mean, look at the thickness of those canes. Oh, my fingers are in the way, isn't it? Look at the thickness of those canes. I mean, those canes are massive. And it's coming up healthy. So I am just going to leave it and not mess with it. It's thriving. I'm going to leave it. And then I believe this is milkweed that's coming up. And then I planted a canna back here. And it's shooting up a baby. So I've got 2 cannas that are coming up. My elephant ears aren't showing that they're coming back up, and I'm going to make the assumption that they died during the freeze. God, I just cannot get over that. White creamy rose with pink blushing on the edges of the leaves. I planted, this is a purple catmint. And then right where that flower is, my parrot died the other day. And I had my parrot for 24 years. And so I brought him out here, and he is buried next to Bud, or above Bud, in the flower garden. So I have Peanut buried there. And this rose bush that had died a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, is shooting up a brand new baby rose bush. So if I would have pulled that out, I would never have gotten a new rose bush. But look at that. Is that not amazing? I'm excited about that. So the elderberry, we got flowers last year. You see the wood sticks in there. That's how high it got last year. The drought took it out. I thought it died. It came back with a vengeance. I've got tons of babies underneath of it. It's already taller than what it was last year. It's also sent over a baby over there. So I am letting it take over. Elderberries are fantastic for making cold medicine. They have a lot of health benefits. So I'm letting it take over back here. And I will have my own little elderberry, to make my own elderberry syrup. This is a Gallardia. This is one of Texas's weeds, pretty much. You see them all over the side of the highway. I think they're beautiful. It's a red and yellow pinwheel-like flower. This is all one plant. You can see it's just massive. It's doing great back here. I honestly don't know what that is. I had a safflower planted in the pot. Safflower died, but that was in the pot, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. It has a fuzzy leaf. It's thick, so I have no idea what it is. I'm letting it grow to see what it does. And then the lacy looking plants are celosia. I've got 3 different varieties planted here, so I'm excited about when they pop up. I planted a blue catmint here, and then right here I planted another Hyssop anise, because I had another one that I had started because I thought the one I had died, but it came back. So I planted that one there. So I have some vacant spots that I will be bringing stuff back here to plant. I have some hollyhocks that I might plant in the back corners. I'll definitely plant some sunflowers. I'm gonna go bananas with sunflowers this year. These are the 2 new beds that I just put in. This is my strawberry bed. I did plant white borage with it. Borage is supposed to be fantastic with strawberries. It brings beneficial bugs that help protect them, and they don't compete for nutrition. So I'm hoping I will have strawberries this year. I bought the strawberries as rootstock, and I just planted them, and they're coming up. I see where a few of them are not coming up, so there were supposed to be 25 plants. I don't think I'll have 25 plants, but strawberries spread out, so I will work on getting them spread out. I'd really like this bed to fill out completely with strawberry plants. I have not had a lot of luck with strawberries. This year I went through Gunnery, and I actually bought a strawberry that was for zone 9 through zone 11, so it's made for this area. I am fingers crossed, because strawberries are one of my favorites, along with blueberries. So if this bed works out and they grow well and I can get a good production out of the strawberries, I'll have strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. I have a grapevine on the other side of the fence, plus a ton of fruit trees that my neighbor gave me. So I will definitely have my fruit covered in the years to come. And these are my 2 blueberries. They are getting leaves. I am excited about that. I'm actually seeing some flower buds forming at the tips. So yay. This is a nectarine, which is going to get planted in the other side of the fence. It's starting to produce flower buds. I'm excited about that. This is a crab apple. That is an apricot that's in this pot. That's an apple tree that does not need other apple trees. It's self-fertile. Something is attacking the leaves. I'm gonna walk around. Something's attacking the leaves. I don't quite know what's going on. I think it's leaf miners. Oh, well, that would explain it. Look, caterpillars. Okay. Oh my gosh, they're all over it. Well, that's not good. Okay. Well, that explains what's going on with the apple tree. I had caterpillars. Okay, well, mystery solved. I'm gonna have to come out here with some neem oil. I don't even know what type of caterpillars they are. They're yellow. Oh my gosh, they're all over. Yuck. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to do something about that. I don't spray chemicals, but I do use neem oil. That's about the only thing I use. So I'm gonna have to come out and spray this to save it. But my neighbor gave it to me. It's a self-fertiling apple tree. And then these are blackberries here and there. This is also a type of raspberry. It's a Nova raspberry. So that will get planted. My raspberries are going to go where these poles are. This is where I had my tomatoes last year and the year before. They don't get enough sunlight here. So, and this, not because of it doesn't get a lot. It gets sun, but it doesn't get a lot of hot sun. I'm hoping that it'll keep my berry bushes from burning, because they can burn. That is a random sunflower seed that's coming up in between the cardboard. I'm leaving it because, you know, free plant. So this is my herb garden. This also is a new garden for this year. You can tell the wood's nice and yellow. It's not silvered out yet. And I don't build fancy boxes, and they're not meant to be big fancy boxes. It's primarily to make it easier for me to weed eat around the plants. Also we have clay, and I wanted to be able to build the dirt up without it spilling all over the place, and I thought this would work. It gives me kind of some type of structure without being too structured, and then when the wood finally rots away, I'll just remove it and I'll have my beds. So that's my plan anyway. But I have in my herb bed, in the middle I've got white butterfly peas that'll climb that trellis. I'm going to bring out some blue butterfly pea seeds and put them out here as well on that trellis. I've got thyme. I've got 4 different types of parsley. I've got 2 types of chamomile, a yellow chamomile and a white chamomile in here. I have, I've got, what else is in here? Parsley, chamomile, lemon balm. I've got limoncello balm, mountain mint. That's chamomile there. And then I've got something new this year. It's called calamintha, and it's got blue flowers. You use it to make tea. That's what that is. Calamintha. I got it from Baker Creek. I wanted to try it. I'm trying to do a combination of herbs that I can do teas with, and start more of like a tea garden. I'm supposed to have a big tea garden right in this space here. I just haven't gotten that far yet. And then I have bronze fennel right there because it's just beautiful, and the caterpillars love it. So that is what I've got in that bed. And my big mad mess up here, pretty much I have to keep things up high enough where the boy dogs cannot hike their legs. You could look at them. They're like, Mom, it's raining. Let us into the house. Why are you making us stay outside in the rain? Poor dogs. I have another, this is a peach tree, amaryllis, that has given me pups. I need to take that into the front yard and plant it in my front flower bed. And then I've got empty flats. It's the flower beds, the little flower boxes my husband got me for Christmas the same year he got me my greenhouse. So I need to pick them up and get them on a flat surface because this ground is too catawonky for them. And I want to plant them up with flowers and herbs, probably up on the patio if I can figure out a way. I think they're tall enough where the boys won't be able to pee on them, and they are stackable. So I might do something with that. I don't know. Or get some type of bricks or something so they have a flat surface. But if I keep them out here, they're just going to break because the ground is uneven, they're catawonky, they're plastic and snap together. So I might move them out front and do something in the driveway with them. I haven't decided yet. This here is another apricot. So I've got a lot of apricot and peaches, nectarines. I've got more trees out front. That's an olive tree. I've got to get them planted. Some of them I've had for going on 2 years now. I couldn't plant anything last year because it was too hot and too dry. So my goal is to get the rest of the wood shavings back here, which I don't have very many. Oh, what is that little heathen doing? What are you doing? Are you doing your own garden? And I wonder why I twist my ankle all the time in the backyard. This little heathen. What are you sitting on your hole? Look at you. You got mud all over your face. What are you doing? Are you going to bury your toy? Did you find something? Are you looking for gold? See if you can find gold for us. Look for gold. Yeah. Then you can buy your own kibble. What do you think? Your feet are quite muddy, sister. You plan on jumping in my lap when we go inside too, don't ya? Of course you do. Oh, lady. You're going to fill that hole in, right? So I don't kill myself when I walk back here in the dark. She's like, what hole? I don't know what you're talking about. I did nothing. Lies. All lies. You're so naughty. You're too damn cute though, huh? She says, I am cute, and I get away with murder. Your daddy's little girl, little monster. Anyway, I'm going to hop off of here. This is my garden tour for the middle end of March. Lots of plans. I'm diligently working on it between dog grooming and taking care of the livestock. Kidding goats and hatching baby chicks. What are you doing? You didn't fill in that hole. Run around in the wet grass for a few minutes to get that mud off your feet. What do you think? You do that for me? She says, no, not really. You're so naughty. You're so naughty. Are you naughty? Are you a funny girl? I love you. I love you. I see a tail waggle. Are you going to wag your tail? You're going to wag your tail. You're so naughty. She knows she did something she shouldn't be doing. Where's your toy? Where's your toy? Where's your ball? Where's it at? All right. Well, you guys all have a blessed day. Is it all about you? What? Where is it? I don't have it. Y'all have a blessed day. Please like and subscribe and follow along on my crazy adventure of my small farm, between my attempts at gardening and the chaos mess that I create, my organized clutter. I mean, you know, a shelf of pots that are just chaos. So anyway, I'm gonna go in and start a bunch of seeds since my grooming client canceled, and try to get my flowers planted for my side garden, and which that I'm gonna start doing videos on here soon too. Right now there's not much to video, but I have a lot of plans, and I promise you by this summer this garden's gonna be full, and it's gonna be green, and there's gonna be flowers everywhere, and it's gonna be beautiful, because I've had to start everything from seed because I don't have the money to run to the store and buy plants this year that are already half grown and ready to go in the ground. Everything I'm having to start from seed. My neighbor is a total sweetheart and gives me plants. They have an orchard and he gives me trees. So that's where most of my fruit trees have come from. I've got a bunch of fruit trees over there on that side of the fence that are going to get planted. I've got figs and pears and apples. And a lot of it is going to go over there. A lot of the trees that are back here are going to go over there. They're just back here because they're easier to water if everything's in one spot. So wish me luck, and tell me what you're doing in your garden. I know some of you guys are still under snow and cold, but would love to hear comments and thoughts. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Bye.